Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heavy play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets
That's
it.
just a heavy play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heavy play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Okay. Week 8 was a wild one, and that's not normally how we would start this. And I know what everyone at home is thinking. Why are Kalen's eyes so red? It is definitely has nothing to do with the fact that Derrick Henry is done for season and will not win the MVP.
So yeah, well, Shane, listen, I've been crying since the end of overtime. First, the picture at the top of you see Fat Randy there. There's Coach Vrabel telling Fat Randy he needs a few points, and Fat Randy delivered. We finally got a kicker, man. It took us 4 years to finally get somebody after suck up. So I was really, really happy with finally finding a special teams ace. And then, 10 hours, 12 hours later, we find out the news that Derrick Henry has a broken, the last toe in his foot or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's looking at probably 8 to 10 weeks or something.
So was I the only one that didn't realize that it was that serious of an injury? Like, did you know?
So there's
Did you have
different
an idea?
versions. There's different versions of what the injury is. When it happened in the game, I had no idea. He came off the field for about 6 reps, maybe even less than that, and he was back in the game and played the rest of the game. And then Vrabel was asked today, well, did you risk more injury doing that? And I guess the medical team and a lot of people where I was reading across forums were saying that wouldn't cause more injury to what was already done in that specific case. But there's the injury that he did get, the Jones injury, it's much better. There's another one that's called they call it the dancer's injury, but that one would have been 16 weeks as a recovery time. So 10 weeks is tough if that's the long end, but I think at this point that win, we sealed up the division, right? We really, really going to have to screw things up to lose the division. At least that gets us the playoff berth, and that gets us Derrick Henry back. So,
well, and that probably also gets you the bye week. Now, Chad and I were watching that game together. We actually watched a few games together yesterday. And I got to tell you, we had absolutely no idea that he was even hurt.
You wouldn't know, right? I was typing on the Reddit today. You wouldn't know that he was hurt. He didn't play hurt at all. He certainly got slowed down. Indy has a great run defense, and they did a great job by Kansas City to shut him down. But he fought for yardage. He's definitely fought for yardage in the third and the fourth quarter to get those first downs. There was 2 specific plays that I can think of where if you're hurting him, and he was running left too. All the pressure is there, cutbacks and stuff. So. Yeah, if you guys watch it,
is it the bone in his foot or is it his outside toe? Because what toe?
They say it's the 5th metatarsal, so it's the bone that's right before it goes into the toe itself. Kevin Durant had the same injury. Now,
This is what I'm asking.
Oh, it's the last toe, the 5th, the smallest toe. the outside toe.
So yeah, because anytime he cuts, he's gonna push off on that thing. Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. At 250 pounds, right? So this is the injury that Debo Samuel had. This is the same injury that Kevin Durant had. Now Debo came back. He hasn't looked like he's slowed down a lot as a result of the injury. Kevin Durant took 3 surgeries after the injury. So this can go two different ways here, right?
And he doesn't play a contact sport like football. I mean, not like basketball is not a contact sport, but it's two completely different pressures on there. And I guess, I mean, what we were going to start with was the Titans roll again. And then at about noon, when I put that in the group chat, I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. We didn't realize that was going to happen. And, I mean, I guess the good news is Vrabel had Adrian Peterson on speed dial. So what kind of I don't even understand the connection that Peterson would have to Tennessee.
There would be like none. I know that there was some calls a couple of years ago, and there's a connection between him and Derrick Henry. I know that they have trained together in the past, and they've connected in the past. But this Chad before the show asked, what's the offense going to look like? It's going to look a lot like it is. It's going to look a lot like it is now. It's just that Mikael Sargent, I think, is going to be the workhorse, with AP being that spelling back on the first and second downs, and then Jerry McNichols is still going to be that third down and receiving back. He may even get a lot more play time. He's earned the right to have that too. He's got a great yards per carry right now as well.
Hey boys, not to put too much pressure, but we are officially live in Baghdad right now. A guy that I know is actually visiting some family right now, and he's watching right now. So Amar, hopefully you're having a safe trip, brother.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No pressure now. No pressure now that we're worldwide.
Yeah. No, but that also means the offense. I do think there's going to be some evolution here, because we also haven't seen AJ Brown and Julio Jones on the same field very much this season. And I think this is where Vrabes goes to Julio and has to say, listen, we ponied up, we traded for you, we also gave you more money up front now. We're going to need to lean on you over the next 8 weeks, right? So I think it's more of a pass attack.
Do you think Ryan Tannehill can carry this team?
So
that's a real question. I'm not being a smartass.
Yeah,
can Ryan Tannehill carry this team without a true, now probably the best running back in the NFL the last 3 years? So that makes every quarterback look good.
Yeah, Tanny has played 3 games without Derrick Henry, and 3 games, 2 games, sorry. But he has a near perfect passer rating in that. One of them was against the Saints actually last year there, and the Saints at that point had a very, very good defense. So the game plan, and we had Dion Lewis as our starter. Dion Lewis was brutal, right? So I think that Ryan Tannehill, if we have Julio, we have AJ, we have Chester Rogers, we've got Marcus Johnson, we have enough that he can lean on, that I don't think that it's all going to have to be Tannehill. And he's got legs, guys. He's shown more than enough times this year already that he can get the ball moving.
Well, I'm going to ask this question for, actually, it's for Chad, so you might even be about to answer it, Chad. So you've called plays. You know this. So as our play caller, I need to know how you're going to script your first 15, because you can't just give it to the big load to kind of pull the defense out.
Who do you guys play this week, Kalen? Before I answer that question.
So you're going to love
the LA Rams on
Sunday Night Football. Yeah.
Oh.
This is going to be
definitely
whoever made Tennessee's schedule is an asshole.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
literally, they're literally a piece of shit.
NFC West, Rays get screwed.
So as far as calling the plays, well, that just that's a rough go for a play caller right there. I think you just got to start them off with it. And depending who you're going to put in your backfield, like I don't know too much about the Tennessee backfield. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I do. But I think you got to start quick passes, get them out, get those guys going side to side right away. I don't know if there's a way to slow down Aaron Donald. Like that's just me being bluntly honest. And now that Vaughn Miller just joined the fucking party, which we'll probably dip into shortly, which is absolutely fucking absurd. I think you got to get those guys going east and west, because you don't want anything coming down north and south at you with those guys, because those guys have one speed. And I don't think there's an offensive line in the NFL that can hold the two of those guys up. Mm-hmm. And I think as far as Tannehill goes, he's going to have to move. You can't rely to stay in that pocket. You have deep weapons, and you're going to take shots. Outside of that, man, those first 10 plays, get them going side to side, run left, one right, come back to the center, quick out to the right, quick out to the left, maybe a crossing route somewhere in there. Make those guys chase. Make Jalen Ramsey run all over the field. Don't let him get comfortable. And whatever you do, don't leave that ball in your quarterback's hands.
Right, exactly. And when it comes down to it, like weirder things have happened. The Packers beat the Cardinals without Devontae Adams. Cooper Rush just beat the Vikings in Minnesota. But from a strictly betting perspective, today between the hours of 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock, how much did the line move? Derrick Henry out of the game and Vaughn Miller into the game? You
Three and a
gotta be
half
kidding
points,
me.
easily. Got to be at least
Easily,
3.5 points.
It's in
I
LA.
don't even have it
too.
in front of me. Like that, it's got to be like a 9-point spread at this point, right, Caleb? Have
I
you
don't
seen
even.
it?
I don't know. Look right now for you, but it's
It's
in
definitely up
LA.
to
It's-
7.5.
phone.
It's easily 7.5 now.
It's going to be
Yeah.
a difficult game, no doubt.
Well, hey, and you know what? We counted you out against the Chiefs, and we counted you out against the Bills. So
7.5 for the Rams right now.
yeah, and I think it's realistic to say that was probably about 3 or 3.5 before any of. I don't know how much Vaughn Miller moves the needle, but Derrick Henry affects a line as much as a quarterback would, if not even more. And
Here's hoping
our
that we
friends
get
at Coolbet
Christian.
probably,
Okay.
yeah, our friends at Coolbet probably were not thrilled about the people that got the Rams at 3.5 earlier in the week. Those early
can-
betting guys.
I will honestly tell Kalen right now, I was ready to come on here today and say that you guys are the best team in the AFC. And we've ridden you so bad this whole time. We have been so mean to you. We've been mean to you for 2 years. And I was like, you know what, man? I'm going to fucking eat my words. I'm going to tell Kalen that you guys are the best team in the AFC. And then this news came out, and I hope you guys can keep rolling. But,
Well,
man, that really is going to set you guys back if he cannot return for the playoffs.
yeah. Well, two things there. We got him come back for the playoffs. The injury again, it's like 10 weeks maximum. Like puts him. We've pretty much sealed the division at this point. Like we really have to screw up for us to not get to those playoffs. So I think we have an opportunity for him to get in there and get. And if we have a rested, I know he's coming off an injury, but it'll be a rested Derrick Henry going into the playoffs in the cold weather time. That's scary, right?
I think that's a pipe dream. I mean, to be honest, I know they said 8 to 10 weeks, but I could see him playing if you get into the Super Bowl. But before that, I don't see it happening. Cold weather on a broken foot, and yeah. I guess if it's a home game, but I mean, Tennessee at that time is still pretty cold. I don't think that you're taking Derrick Henry to Buffalo as much as you probably want him, but you don't want this guy.
San Diego, maybe.
Yeah, well, if the AFC Championship game is in San Diego, then something drastically went wrong. But yeah, I mean, LA, I get what you're saying. Like LA makes sense. The Super Bowl
Vegas makes sense.
So. Yeah. I don't see them rushing him back for the long term, but I guess if a doctor clears him, he clears him. It came out way too fast that Adrian Peterson was signing there, and I don't think that Adrian Peterson's playing this week or next week. No. So they signed him to keep him there for the stretch run, and I don't know, man. A little bit worried, but
he's pretty hyped about it. But for those 3.5-point bettors that took the Rams, Christian Fulton potentially comes back, and he was a top 5 corner in the NFL before he went down with his injury. So that can significantly help us against a heavy pass offense like the Rams.
Can I just tell you the most fucked up stat I saw? Can I say this stat I just saw?
Yeah,
just popped up. So I know everybody likes to rip on like Kirk Cousins saying how he's not a good quarterback. I just saw the stat that proved it. He is 7 and 39 against teams with a winning record. Oof. That is painful. That guy has been paid a lot of fucking money.
You're barking up the wrong tree over there, Chad. Shane's gonna like that man forever.
Hey, Kirk Cousins is aces in my books because of the Hail Mary that he threw to beat Russell Wilson and the Badgers. But, as you guys are aware, it was a pretty significant weekend for me heading into it. And everybody out there realizes the outcomes that prevailed for me. And we're going to leave the college one to itself for right now because we're going to get into a completely different discussion. But, Kalen, are you ready to jump up off your knees for the Browns and tell me that you think that the Steelers are a little bit better than you thought that they were?
Whoa, I said the Steelers were going to win the game, and what I said
to appease me, I could tell you did not believe it in your heart.
No.
You did not believe it in your heart.
Here's Remedy Crow.
Chad and Liam believed it in their hearts because they bet with their hearts, but you did not believe it.
I said that they were going to win simply because TJ Watt is an absolute freak. I said that he was going to, because I remember I said that that Roethlisberger was going to do just enough. Now he did more than just enough. in that game to keep them in that game. But it was TJ Watt at the end, sealing it up there, as he always does, coming in clutch. So you guys are a good team. I thought you guys were going to win the game. It's just classic Browns. They can't seem to come out when it's big time. Now, Baker played really, really well for an injured arm, man. He was pretty fluid around. And that big hit that he took on the sidelines, I thought he was going to come up pretty hobbled, and he gets up doing like the first down motion. And I thought when he punched his arm in the air that he was going to throw his shoulder out doing that. What an insane move to be doing. Celebration.
Yeah, his injured arm is not throwing shoulder. So
yeah, and then he threw it so hard at Jarvis Landry that he fumbled it on the next play, and then that basically sealed the game. But here's the thing. There was a lot of bullshit that went on there, and Browns fans are whining about officiating. I have a problem with people that say that you lost because of officiating. Michigan fans were bitching about it. I actually roasted a couple people on our Instagram. I'm not even sure if they follow us anymore. And
that one guy got a tag team by the two of us.
Yeah,
that was bad.
Yeah, Chad and I were both sending him stuff. He thought it was from one person. It was absolutely outstanding. Well, look, you want to talk about significant calls in that game? How about a roughing the passer on the kicker? The only person that I heard that's even acknowledged it is Tony Dungy. Acknowledged it last night on Football Land America. Tony Romo and Jim Nantz couldn't have cared less. They were like,
Tony Romo's a fucking loser, though. Don't even get me started.
Yeah. Well, Buffalo Wild Wings is closed, Chad, because of they weren't able to open today. So the drinking game's on hold unless Kelly's at home doing shots by herself.
Well, did you see Boswell's post today?
No, but I heard that he's going to be back and he's fine.
Oh, yeah, but he said he dressed up as Halloween as a quarterback and got spooked.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, Tony Romo was so excited for Myles Garrett to miss. He didn't even sack him. You allowed the kicker to run around, do Russell Wilson style things in the backfield, and then threw him out of bounds. And bro, you're 280 pounds. The kicker is 175 pounds. Give the guy a break.
Hey, did Sean Taylor give a guy a break?
That was different. He was a runner then. But no, the part, as I said, as my exact words of Shane were, if that was Baker or if that was Ben, that's 15 yards and automatic first down. That's the part that doesn't make sense. That wasn't like he threw the ball and then hit him right as he let go. He threw the ball, took a step and a half, and then got jacked up. So at what point is he not considered a passer?
So if we're talking about the officiating, there has been a lot of calls. The personal fouls have really gone up this year. I've been watching a lot of games, and that's really slowed the game down for me.
There was two defensive holding calls on run plays.
On nose tackles. On the nose tackle.
But in the Colts and the Niners game last week, there was a lot of those underthrown balls that got pass interference calls. I don't know if you guys said you watched the game. It basically almost cost us the game a couple of times against the Colts, those underthrown balls. Listen, I understand what pass interference is, but I also don't like it when a wide receiver turns around and doesn't actually make an effort to come back to the ball, and it gets called pass interference when it's an underthrown ball. I'm sick of seeing a quarterback underthrow a ball by 10 yards and it be called pass interference when the wide receiver doesn't even make an attempt. He just literally turns around. And because the defender is sitting there in his face, they're saying, "Oh, he could have caught the ball." It's 10 yards.
I said this 3 times yesterday, and I'm a quarterback guy. I'm an offensive coordinator. I'm a quarterback coach. That's what I love. And I've never been so frustrated. When the quarterback makes a bad throw or throws his guy by 5 yards, the DB doesn't have a chance because all the guys have to do is stop running, and it's PI. That you have to give the DB the same entitlement as the receiver to get back to the ball. And so if you're not going to give him that chance, how is he supposed to let that ball thrown 4 yards behind him when he's in chase? So, yeah, it's an absolute bullshit. I don't agree with it. There has to be a way to figure it out. They tried to do a replay on pass interference, slowed the game down, and nothing got changed. But there has to be a way they can figure that out. The game's too fast, and the players are too big to let something stupid as that, ruin the game. Because eventually it's going to come down in the playoffs, and either they're not going to call it, which is even going to be worse, after they called it the whole year. They have to find a way to be consistent with it, or else it's just going to ruin the game.
Mm. Lots of calls in last night's game, too. That seemed like the officiating really took over the game there. Lots of stupid, silly holding calls outside the play that, to me, were really ticky-tack.
And really, when it came down to it, like no matter what the refs were willing to do, the Cowboys were over. Like they were able to persevere through that, and good for that Cooper Rush guy to get the win. Came in with two career passes attempted, and they were able to do it. But I still didn't hear you say that you think that the Steelers are a contender. But I'll just take it as
Whoa.
all the
Contender?
talking.
Contender? We're going to make the jump to contender now? I
Absolutely.
thought they were just a little bit better than the Browns.
Well, you
Now I'm gonna
crowned
say
the
they're a
Browns 2.5
contender.
weeks ago.
Yeah, you put the Browns in the Super Bowl, didn't you?
I said that the Browns have a very good offense that come wintertime when they have a two-headed monster that they
They
didn't
don't
have
a good
yesterday.
offense because their
They
offense
didn't
is
have-
one-dimensional
they're-
and it's quite
They
easy
didn't
to
have a
shut
two-headed
down.
monster.
Well, I mean, they had a guy that was better than Nick Chubb playing for them. Dearness Johnson was the better of the two running backs in that game. 100%.
Those boxes got pretty heavily stacked when Chubby came in, though.
Well, then it should have been pretty easy for Baker to pick apart the defense.
I agree.
Oh, but he didn't. So I don't know, man. I think that the people that are all over the Browns are excited about it. The Steelers have the Bears on Monday Night Football. The Browns have the Bengals, and I think that's going to be a big one for them. But the game we're counting down for tonight is the Chiefs and the Giants. I mean, I don't know if there's a ton to break down. I just threw a little bet builder into our group chat or the chat line here. I think Chad's got one too if he wants to throw his in there. But anything interesting to watch for here? Is this just a game to get right for Kansas City?
I think Kansas City just goes down and just drops the hammer on them. It's been that bad the last couple of weeks. They've been shit on by everybody in the media. They've been shit on by us. And I think Patrick Mahomes is like, hey, everybody's talking about my annoying brother and my annoying wife. I'm going to show them who I am again. And I think he's just going to beat the shit out of the Giants tonight. It doesn't matter how bad their defense is.
That's what I'm about. That Patrick Mahomes 3-touchdown life, over 250 yards. Chiefs might as well win and keep the game under 53 points.
I got Chiefs money line. I got
Okay.
Mahomes two plus touchdowns.
Okay.
Kelsey 65. Tyreek
Yep.
Hill 70.
Okay.
Hill touchdown. Kelsey touchdown.
Oh shit! You really went for it, eh? What is that paying you?
It's paying me 4. I'm like, because you have 3 plus touchdowns. It's the 2 plus that's holding me back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am literally just saying fuck you to the New York Giants and everybody that's about them tonight. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to hold nothing back.
Well,
Jeez.
we can always circle back to this game if we got a little bit more time before kickoff. But there was another New York team that was kind of making some. Why did you have something to say, Kalen?
I'm excited. You guys know that I like Danny Dimes, man. He's going to have Sterling Shepard. He's got Tony in the lineup. I mean, he's going against a bad defense. This could be an opportunity for Danny Dimes to shine.
I didn't say the Giants aren't going to score. Like I took a bet. I took it anytime. I took it anytime score saying that Tony's getting a touchdown tonight in a separate bet.
yeah.
Okay. Well, Chad's
This guy's-
invested in this
He's
game. eh?
dancing all over this game tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's stopping anybody. I think they can shoot the moon out tonight.
Yeah. Chad is saying fuck cryptocurrency. I am all in on Monday Night
Yeah.
Football.
We don't need Bitcoin when you just remortgage the house on Monday nights.
Yo, that's what our friends at Coolbet are good for. Eh? They just line us up here.
So the other
But yeah, I
New
mean,
York
like,
team we're talking
so
about?
yeah, I mean, we got we talked a lot about Mike White and how we didn't have any idea who he was, and we kind of talked a little bit about what to expect from him, and I think that I could speak for at least one of us that they lost their survivor pick on the Bengals. But
Nobody's got one now.
Yeah.
yeah, no, we're finally equal, and you got a lot of work to do, by the way.
You mean?
You're about 6. No, Kalen's about 6 picks behind third place right now.
Okay.
But how about that guy putting up 405 pass yards? That's the second most all time for somebody starting in their first game in the NFL. And this is a guy nobody knew anything about. I guess he's from Western Kentucky. We did a little bit of research on him. Just to, we're like, fuck is this guy?
Dude, that guy
and-
played everywhere. He was at Georgia State.
Yeah.
Then he went
And-
somewhere else, and then he transferred again to Western Kentucky. They go to 3 schools in 5 years, so nobody
Yeah.
wanted him.
And he was 17 yards behind breaking the record. And I think how many plays did Josh Johnson come in for? Seemed like he was in for a couple of drives at least. So I mean, that might have been the only thing that kept Cincinnati in the game. Like, what's going on with your boys down there in Cincinnati?
Well, I think he listened to the show. That was the big thing because anytime we talk about somebody and say we don't know who they are, they need to do something. It seems to happen.
Yeah.
So obviously we got fans in Manhattan.
I think it was just
Well,
a kid that
if Mike
nobody
White
had-
wants to come on the show, he's more than welcome.
I think he might be a little bit hotter now of a commodity to get him on now. Maybe hard to
Yeah,
slide into
yeah.
his DMs.
Yeah, we fucked that up.
I think just a
All
kid
right.
that nobody had film on, and he was willing to throw it around, and he didn't hone in on one receiver. Everybody got opportunities. Everybody got targets. It seemed like they made the offense pretty simplistic for a kid coming into the NFL against a pretty good Bengals defense. And the Bengals defense didn't get a whole lot of pressure either. They're like, which is something that was pretty surprising as well, right? So costly turnovers at the very wrong time for Joe Burrow, unfortunately. But I'm still excited to watch him play. I'm not going to stop watching Burrow play, man. I'm going to love watching him.
Are you talking about Mike? Oh, you're talking about Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Well,
all right,
that's the
yeah,
thing.
I
We
mean-
don't know what Mike White's going to produce. Saleh, the coach, left it wide open today, basically saying that, somebody gets the opportunity with the reps and sees what they do with them, right? He's already done
and-
more than Zach Wilson has.
Look, like when I came, I was driving home from work tonight, and I was like, I have a question for Chad because, again, like I've never coached football. Kalen, you've never coached football, so we are definitely we played. One of us has, and we definitely we definitely we definitely have been in locker rooms, so we know what to expect. But is this potentially, and it might be early, but is this potentially the new Kirk Cousins RG3 in Washington situation? And I get it, Zach Wilson has only done little bits, but he got banged up. But your 5th round pick from a few years ago, who's never taken a snap in the NFL, just made you look like a complete asshole.
If you want to go first, Ken, you're really welcome to.
I don't think.
No, he's pissed. He's pissed that I said that.
No, Saleh can say whatever he wants to say in the media and make it look nice and pretty. I still think this is Zach Wilson's team. He's wearing the C, right? You're not benching the 1st round captain of your team a few weeks into the season off of a rookie or in his rookie year. Like, it's just Peyton Manning had a really bad rookie year too. So give the kid the opportunity to get through it. Let's see what he has in his sophomore campaign, and then we make a decision. Is how long is Mike White on contract for? That's the other thing too, right? We can go till next year. I mean, at this point, they're not making noise this year. So get through the year, see what happens with your 1st rounder, and if he's not there and you still got White under contract, training camp is going to be pretty fun next year then.
I'm going to go off what Kalen said, and I think this is Zach Wilson's team. There's no way they're not going to let it be Zach Wilson's team. Now, the only thing that they can hope for, and this is going to sound really fucked up, they need Mike White to play bad.
Well, it's a quick
the
turnaround,
last
right?
thing-
It's Thursday Night Football. There's no way Zach Wilson's playing Thursday Night Football.
The last thing they need is for Mike White to go out there and win, like, just say, I know it sounds crazy. If he wins, like, 3 out of 4 games or something like that. I don't know how long Zach Wilson's out for exactly, but that's the last thing they need. The guy came out. He came in last week. No one knew who he was. Kind of got beat up. This week he came out, got banged up, and all of a sudden came back and threw the lights out. And now our nobody show is talking about a nobody quarterback as if this guy could go to a Pro Bowl all of a sudden, which is crazy. And then he's taking out a 1st round pick. The last thing the Jets need is for anybody else outside of like a couple people in the media talking about this guy, they need him to fuck up. The worst thing they can do is have him win because then, number one, you might have quarterback controversy in your room. Well, I don't know. Well, I'm not in that locker room. I don't know what it's like. I don't know how these guys feel about Zach Wilson. And also, this kid comes in, he starts slinging the ball around, which I noticed the 3 teams that had quarterbacks that were backups this week. Those guys didn't hold the ball back. They didn't play safe, which is really fun to watch for a backup. Before they would come in and just nickel and dime it down the field. And these guys just got green lights to sling it wherever they wanted to, which is also fun for receivers, right?
Kelly's saying this is exactly what happened to Spencer Radler.
Oh,
Well, except, I haven't seen Caleb Williams throw a football yet.
it's nice.
It's one of those things that I just need to see. Like, I think the Jets need him to lose because if he's out there throwing deep balls and making receivers happy and they win a couple games and Zach Wilson comes back in and is not doing those things, then you're gonna have that controversy. You're gonna have that problem in the locker room, right? So yeah, they need Mike White to lose.
And
Yeah,
contract
I think-
update there. He's a 1-year deal there, but he's a restricted free agent, so they can tender him and keep him around next year anyway.
Yeah, but I think like Chad's onto something. Like what he's saying is, if for some reason, let's say the Jets beat the Colts this week, and I don't know how long Zach Wilson's out for, but you would presumably think that the reins are handed back over to him, even if Saleh doesn't believe it. At the end, like we're all adults, we know that everyone has a boss. Like whoever is making the final decision, whether it's the owner, the GM, or the president of the Jets, someone's making that decision that's going to put Wilson back in the game. But where it's going to get dicey is if Mike White is 2-0 as a starter and Zach Wilson comes back in and struggles again, how mentally tough is Zach Wilson to fight through the shit of a New York crowd when you're losing games, when presumably the more talented guy has to be Zach Wilson the way that it is. But how crazy was it to think that Kirk Cousins was going to replace Robert Griffin III?
Mm-hmm.
Or outside of Kelly and the 12 people at her house right now, who knew who Caleb Williams was 3 weeks ago?
And now he's the talk of the town. And
Yeah,
Spencer
now
Rattler's
they're saying that he's got
transferring
a
out.
chance to win the Heisman, which, I mean, we all know who's winning the Heisman, and we'll touch on that in a couple minutes here. And
Is that Jim
I'm sorry,
Harbaugh's daddy?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to hurt any feelings out there in Oklahoma, but your boy Caleb Williams is not winning the Heisman. So I don't think it's as far-fetched to think. I mean, it might not happen this year, and it might be something that takes to the end of the year to figure out. But look, Josh Rosen got replaced really quick, and the RG3 thing was more of an injury thing, and I guess his first year was pretty solid, and then it was more of a second and third year thing where RG3 kind of fizzled out. But
well, as far as like the media goes, I just don't even know if like a kid like Zach Wilson even pays attention to that in any way. He just seems like
he has to,
super simple. He seems like a super simple kid, though. He doesn't even seem
That's
like
the
one of those
problem. He's
social
in
media
Manhattan
kids.
being a super simple kid.
yeah, like when it comes down to it, like this is social media generation. Like this guy is going to live on the Reddit boards and wondering what everyone's saying. Well, I guess they don't call it Facebook anymore. I don't even know what the hell they call it. Whatever
Meta World
TikTok
Peace.
video, Meta World Peace, whatever TikTok video somebody's putting out making fun of Zach Wilson, like that is going to hurt him. He's not, and again, I don't know him, but what kind of mental toughness does this guy have to try and fight through something like this? If it's to spiral, like right now, it's just a conversation for a couple of dummies to have while we're drinking beer, waiting for football to start. But if this gets serious after Thursday night, or let's say he's out 3 weeks and it goes 3-0 and Zach Wilson comes back and loses a couple in a row, Jets fans are not the ones to say the most loyal.
And rookie
No.
quarterbacks cost you nothing anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's the big thing, right? It's not like the contract. These guys aren't making $80 million over 8 years anymore. It's not happening. So you're not. But yeah, no, I hopefully, if for Zach Wilson's sake, this doesn't just tank and sewer him. But yeah, no, this Mike White thing, I think they need the Colts to come out and just beat the shit out of him. And that's the best thing that can happen for Zach Wilson.
yeah, and I think it's a real story, and I think that the big media conglomerates will start covering it probably at the end of next week or the week after. But right now, this is just the general fan looking at. I know how the fan base reacted to Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges coming into the game, and there was a segment of the Steelers population of fans that thought that we should just move on with Duck Hodges. Now,
Oh, yeah.
that guy is on the Rams practice squad now. Like,
Yeah.
I
I think it was the name that really did more than anything for him.
Devlin.
Yeah, cool name, has one
Yeah.
good game, and then yeah, everybody just jumps on board, right?
Yeah, and let's we are hit the 30-minute mark, so to keep our problem.
And we're still talking about the Jets. We
Yeah.
gotta keep going.
To keep our promise to Kelly, we always try and get a little bit of collagen. So let's make sure that we give this proper due. So I'm sorry for everyone in Oklahoma, but the Big Ten definitely owns the college football playoff right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys down in East Lansing have an easy path. Or let me correct, not an easy path. they have a straight path to the college football playoff. That's not to take anything away from Oklahoma, and I'm definitely going to write a little article. But I was teasing, or I was talking to Chad a little bit about it, and kind of teasing my rankings to him, and he hasn't seen them. But I told him that I feel like the committee is going to highly overrate Michigan State. So don't even be shocked if you see them at 4. Not for the fact that they deserve to be 4, but for the fact to have Ohio State at 6 and Michigan State at 4. They still have a head-to-head game against each other. And if you can get Ohio State to beat the number 4 team, and again, I'm not admitting defeat, but that puts them in, and that puts them ahead of potentially even like an undefeated Cincinnati team.
Okay, so maybe you said put them at 4, and so who's your other 3 then? Your top 3? You're bumping when you say 4, you're bumping out Oklahoma then?
No, I don't know. Like right now, I think if you were bumping a team to 5, it's going to be Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be Cincinnati.
Yeah, like their strength of victory is not there. So I mean, you're looking at Georgia 100%. They'd really have to falter against one of these teams down the stretch. As long as Georgia makes it undefeated to the SEC championship game, they're in, whether they're the 1 seed or the 4 seed. Oklahoma, I think that they have been electric enough recently to make it so that it would be almost
next
impossible
3 games
to leave
are all
them out.
ranked.
Yeah, and it would be almost okay. And yeah, so of those next 3 games, all of those teams are beatable, but they're also I mean none of those are trap games, so they should be pretty focused. So let's just say right now that we're pretty secure saying that Oklahoma is the 3. The way that Cincinnati performed on the weekend was not of playoff caliber. And if you're looking at putting another team in, you're probably putting in the undefeated team that just made the biggest statement on national TV of the week. And that's, I mean, call it whatever you want, but right now, the strength of record for Michigan State is number 2 in the country.
Yeah, and I think it's just like I really like Ohio State. Kelly's gonna kill me for saying this. I like them over Oklahoma. I think just because they just don't have that extra game right now that they're not there. Like even if they were 8-1 right now, I would certainly have them above Oklahoma. Oklahoma's in an or a conference that you can just put points on the board all day long and look electric. But the second you dip out of that conference, you're not playing that same ball anymore. Whereas Ohio State, Michigan State, so far, I believe that they probably could do that and be okay. They have that strength of defense. They have that run game that's there that can certainly do that.
Well, yeah, the situation Michigan State was in with 6 minutes left in the third quarter when they were down 30-14. I don't think that there was many people, present included, that thought that they were going to come back and win in the fashion that they did. But I think at this point, Kenneth Walker III, until someone tells you different, is the Heisman. And I mean, I guess it's easy to forget about Bryce Young because they were on a bye week. But right now, I think that what Walker has done to boost the team, I think if Bryce Young wasn't the quarterback at Alabama, they're still in the conversation. They're still
8-1 without him.
Yeah, and if Kenneth Walker wasn't at Michigan State, I think they might be 4-4 right now.
So I just
he's legitimately won them games.
So I just pulled up Cincinnati's schedule to more or less validate what everything we just said is. For strength of schedule, and this is why they're probably going to get left out, there are 4 remaining games. Unranked Tulsa, unranked South Florida, ranked 23 SMU as of today. That doesn't mean it's going to stay there. Yeah. And then unranked East Carolina. If they don't go out and shoot the lights out and bury all those 4 teams, you can't put them in against any of those teams that has 1 loss. Unfortunately, that's just the way the game works. Undefeated or not, your only real win was against Notre Dame, and I don't think as Notre Dame is as good as what our record says they are, and I'm a Notre Dame fan. We've struggled against some mediocre teams. So I think for as far as Cincinnati goes, they're not going to do enough against these. Like they're barely beating out teams that aren't even ranked. So how are you going to put him against a one-loss Ohio State team or a one-loss Michigan State team, a one-loss Bama team, and then if Oklahoma goes undefeated, like they're automatically in then, or Oklahoma loses one, I'd probably put a one-loss Oklahoma team in over Cincinnati.
Yeah. Kelly's a little bit upset about this whole Caleb Williams thing. She's kind of blowing us up in the chat there a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. She
So
they're breaking records against Texas Tech, but go ahead.
yeah, exactly. Coming back to like your Heisman thing, like I still think like your Kenneth Walker, I think he has to continue to have like electric type games, whereas I think somebody like Matt Corral could just continue to do what he's been doing and probably still have the chance to win it.
So
I think Walker's making he's skyrocketing. Like, man, his investment money right now go up, right, for sure.
So the Matt Corral conversation kind of ended when they lost to Auburn, and it's because he wasn't able to move the ball as efficiently as he wanted to, and that they did lose. They're officially out of playoff contention, in my opinion. And
so you guys have to play Ohio State still, right?
And Penn State.
Oh, and Penn State. So if you guys have one loss, does that eliminate Kenneth Walker from being that then? Or does that just make Matt Corral back in the competition?
So how many games could you say that Matt Corral won for Ole Miss? I can think of like two. Like if nobody else, if anybody else is the quarterback, they're running their offense the way that they are. It's not like Ole Miss is going to fall apart next year because they don't have Matt Corral as their quarterback. But I could tell you from watching the last 2 years of Michigan State football, we did not have a run game. One of our running backs converted to tight end because of the lack of speed and efficiency that he had, and they literally just run tight end screens with him. Mm-hmm. What that guy's done and jumping off the transfer portal is amazing, and I actually was kind of hoping that he wasn't going to do this against Michigan because now we're looking at losing him to the draft and not necessarily having for a senior year. But yeah, I mean, Matt Corral's in the conversation. Bryce
looking at, I think he's as good as gone at this point. If he has one more game similar to this, that's it. Get going.
He might need to prove playing in like a more pro style offense than like what we're doing, and I don't know. I guess if he lights up Ohio State and gets into the playoff, then you might be looking at him gone. But you don't know what kind of commitments he has. You can make a little bit of money in college now and still get your degree. I don't know where his degree stands because he transferred, whatever. But yeah, I mean, Chad talked about rankings. I actually really like the position that Notre Dame is in, provided one of these other teams can fall. So let's say, you know, the path for Notre Dame, and I'm gonna make a path for everyone. The path for Notre Dame might be Cincinnati continuing to win but not in style, or maybe losing to SMU. But you'd need Ohio State to probably lose to Michigan State, and likely Michigan State to not win the Big Ten championship. And those are things that can happen. There's going to be a lot of weird conversations about Oregon when it comes down to it, because Oregon is the team that beat Ohio State. But, I mean, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. You look at the eyeball test, but the eyeball test is going to deceive us when it comes to Oregon beat Ohio State. And if it comes down to picking a one-loss Oregon State team that won the Pac-12 or a potential one-loss Ohio State team that won the Big Ten, and head-to-head, it went to Oregon, do you make the case?
I mean, in that scenario, that's only the head-to-head is what's only winning that, because again, Pac-12, Big Ten, like they're just such vastly different conferences. The competition just isn't there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you might be right, and I mean, we'll see how it all breaks down. But is there anybody that you guys are kind of like watching for the playoff, or are we kind of all lockstep here and thinking at least we know who the four are? The announcement's going to be made tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But
I am on the
coming?
I'm on the MSU train, Shane. You got me, man. There's nobody in that top field that I'm really cheering for that really has me going. I would cheer for Cincinnati simply because my nephew went there, but I just don't think they're going to be there when it comes playoff time. We talked about the strength of schedule. So MSU's got me. I think they are going to be the ones that are there. I think that they can beat Ohio State in the Big Ten. So you got me.
I think the biggest thing is going to be no.
Chad's never going to say go green.
No. The big thing for me is what's going to happen in the SEC, because I think that's actually going to determine what goes down. Is a two-loss Alabama team doesn't get in, but a one-loss Georgia and a one-loss Bama team, realistically, that they're probably both going to get in.
Mhm.
So now that leaves 2 spots. And now, do we put in one? Do we put in if Michigan State does lose to Ohio State? Do we put in a one-loss Ohio State team? I think Michigan State has to run the table to get in. I think that's obvious. I don't think Notre Dame's going to get in, no matter how much help we have. Because if even Cincinnati was to lose, that would hurt our strength of schedule.
I guess that's fair.
So, because how are you going to? You would still never put us above Cincinnati, I feel. So I don't think we can get in. So then it's like, okay, does Oklahoma go undefeated? Then I think yeah, they got to be in. So a Big 12 team could be 2 SEC teams, and then I think it's just a winner of the Big 10. And I think that's the only way it's going to get broken down. I don't think Cincinnati gets in. I think they're a New Year's 6 game. I think Notre Dame's a New Year's 6 game. And I think the Ohio State or Michigan State, one of them are a New Year's 6 game. And outside of that, I think it's that simple.
Right, and when you say the winner of the Big Ten, like you have to remember, like if somebody wins from the Big Ten West, then that conference
that
is
fucks up everything.
Yeah, but I mean that's a scenario that maybe opens the door for the boys down in South Bend, but it also probably opens the door more for I guess like an Oregon team or you know, like a Wake Forest team that we've never even talked about on here because we didn't take them that seriously, but I watched a little bit of them on the weekend, and I don't know. You might have to take them seriously. They're probably, like you're saying, a New Year's 6 team. But when I look at Alabama, and then we're going to move off because we got a little bit more NFL to talk about. When I look at an Alabama team at this point in time, if I was the committee, if you were to put them in a neutral site against Georgia, what would you make the line? I feel like a neutral site against Georgia right now. You go ahead first.
Plus,
I'm curious where you're against.
I'd say 2.5. Georgia.
Really? Yeah. So, like, I was talking to a guy that I'm not even sure if I can say it. He likes to bet recreationally, but for his job. He he and I were talking a lot about it, and I think that Alabama might be like a 9-point favorite at home, which will probably make them about a. I think that it would probably make them like a 5 or a 6-point favorite in a neutral site, and that alone is probably going to make them like one of the top 3 teams in the playoff. Like right now, like for the opening ranking. So if I had to look at it, I'm going to say Georgia's number 1 automatically. I'm going to say Oklahoma's number 2, even though if they were head-to-head against Alabama, again, I'm going to say that's about a 9-point spread, maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to say Alabama's 3, and then just because of what I said to Chad, not necessarily from a homer perspective, even though it'd be awesome, is I think that they're going to make Michigan State the number 4 to give an easier path for Ohio State to jump ahead, because I'm pretty sure Ohio State's going to be the 6, and that would leave Cincinnati at the 5.
Makes sense.
And, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Much like our friends over at Joe Cool's, brewing up some beautiful beer. Mr. Insurance Man's going down nice tonight. But how about the Mr. Insurance Man down in Dallas, where it was no Dak, no problem last night? And I don't know if you guys made any money on that, but I could tell you one bet that I crushed yesterday.
I did.
Tennessee money line, Cowboys money line. That came out at 5-1, and I hammered it.
That's crazy that they were. Now, was that after the announcement that Dak wasn't playing that it went that high? I'm assuming.
I threw the bet in on Saturday night, so
Wow,
there was
man.
a lot of
Why were they
speculation,
so-
and I was just like, "Yeah,
Wow, that's.
I saw it Saturday morning, and I texted Shane saying Dallas is plus money. I don't get it. And Dak
Yeah,
at that
it's-
point wasn't called out yet.
the Dallas defense is different, man. Like they're
They are.
as
They
our,
get to the
as our
quarterback.
boy Josh would say, they're built different."
Yeah. No, they have been playing really, really well, but let's also give where it's due. The offensive line for the Vikings fell apart last night. Like they
Yeah.
really got bullied, like bad. And obviously the Dallas defense has played really good all year. Trayvon Diggs, though, late in the game, playing aggressive, right, trying to undercut a ball, making look like he's trying to abate the quarterback a little bit, and it was a little dime over him to Thielen there. Things like that are really going to haunt this defense. You got to coach that out of that kid because I know he's great. He's played really, really well this year. The interception numbers look great on paper, but he really tries too hard to bait the quarterback, and that's a perfect example of what could have gone wrong there last night.
So I was thinking about this last night, and you're talking about the defense. So Randy Gregory,
Wow.
when he was actually coming into the league, I knew he had all like the whatever. That's back when like people cared about weed. Where was he originally drafted to? Was it the Cowboys?
Jaguars, wasn't it?
Was it Jaguars?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Jaguars, and then they
I
got
remember
rid of
him
him.
going somewhere, and then he like funked out, and the Cowboys picked him up. Yeah, I thought the Cowboys had picked him up.
I'm
but-
pretty sure it was during that whole time when they were dealing with that. Was it Justin Blackman, the wide receiver, who was like suspended for it as well? And they basically just like washed their hands. They're like, we're not going to deal with another player like this. So then that's when he went to the Cowboys.
which is amazing. I mean, where we are like weed's legal anyway, so like absolutely amazing that you're not allowed to do your job because you like what. Anyway, that's a whole different subject. We're not gonna dig into. But
now bringing him up though, man, he made a couple of boneheaded plays there back to back, huh?
I mean, I'm gonna call one of them a penalty and one of them absolute bullshit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do really agree with you, but it really hurt the team regardless one way or the other. So it sucks.
Especially when Van Der Esch did the exact same thing, but worse, like 3 plays later.
Right
and
after
like,
that.
Nope, he's wearing a neck roll. He's cool.
Yeah. And Van Der Esch
neck
really
rolls
made the
don't do
leap.
dirty plays.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
It's the unwritten
they're just
rule.
they're trying to keep their shit together.
Safety
But-
first.
Pretty wild win for the Cowboys, and I don't know what the extent of Dak Prescott's injury is. Based on what we're seeing coming out of a bye, he might not play next week just because
I saw they said he's going to play tomorrow. This week they already put it out. I
Is
thought
that
was
right?
fine.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they have such a significant lead in their division at this point that, I mean, I know you were saying Tennessee's already clinched, but based on Sunday Night Football last night, it looks like the Packers and the Cowboys are on their way to the playoffs.
Yeah. And you know, last year how I got really, really excited about like Jeremy Chin and Isaiah Simmons. Like those were like the two rookies that I was really hype on. Man, Parsons on Dallas, that is the player that I can watch all day long. They put him on the line, they put him at edge, he moves all the way around the field. There was one point where he was the edge rusher at the other side of the field and made it all the way back to be the first to make contact with the running back who was running
Yeah.
wide right. It's incredible. Like the way he plays, he covers incredibly well. If he needs to drop back and be like that deep middle linebacker on like a crazy blitz scheme, he can do that. What he adds, the elements that he adds to that team, and then having Van Der Esch, who again, I was just saying, made a very big leap this year. And Jalen Smith being a healthy scratch, I mean, there's a reason why they were able to get rid of him and see what they're looking at in the field and say, look how rich we are at linebacker.
You need to stop putting Jalen Smith's name in your mouth because it's really starting to bother me. You leave my Notre Dame boy alone, or I'll
Healthy
start sending
scratch,
bad
man.
wishes on fucking Derrick Henry. Don't you at me right now, Kalen.
Yeah. What? Look, I think everything that's going down there makes a lot of sense. The Cowboys are in really good shape. I think that the most overrated running back in the league is probably Ezekiel Elliott, and a lot of their run game is because of the O-line and the fact that they can two-headed monster it. Tony Pollard is probably the next big thing in the NFL, in my opinion, as far as a running back that's in there right now that just kind of burst onto the scene. I don't think many people that haven't seen the Cowboys play would know who that guy is. But don't be shocked if Ezekiel Elliott is not a Cowboy in a year or two.
It would have been real bad last night if they lost the game because of his blown pass coverage there or pass blocking, huh?
Well, and really, ultimately, like they won the game because of that extra effort he made, and I think the guy has a tremendous talent, but too many flashes. And Chow, we saved this to the end, man, but I can't hold on to it any longer. Your boys fucked us on a bet last night.
Oh man, they fucked us so bad. I'm not
yeah,
even like I'm upset.
So for anybody
that
that
one's
doesn't
done.
know, because we were doing whatever, cool bet didn't come through on our boosted parlay because a couple guys were out of town and I sent it a little late. So Chad made one just for our group chat. So it was Steelers money line, Titans money line, Rams money line, Bucks money line. So at
The
1
homer
o'clock
pa-
at
the
the end of the
homer
1 o'clock
parlay.
games, we were just like, holy shit, this is easy money. We already spent it. Chad and I were popping bottles. And then, I don't know, man. Trevor Simeon came in. I don't know if Tom Brady was seeing ghosts in New Orleans, what the fuck was going on, but he
So
did not
the-
sound happy in his press conference, and he was not happy with his play, and he was not happy with questions. He was just pissed.
So the crazy thing about this, like, first off, my girlfriend doesn't care about football. I'll be the first to admit it. She tolerates it because of me. I've actually never seen her invest in a football game. I told her what was on the line, that we had plus 1,000 money on it. She was like, "Oh, we're winning this." She thought like Christmas is paid for. She was excited. We come out, we're not scoring, and she's down. All of a sudden, Tom Brady's bringing them back. Her up, she goes up to the roof, and then they scored at the end. And something about Sean Payton and that New Orleans defense. They have Tom Brady's number. He is 1-3 against the Saints this year, including the playoffs last year. He has thrown more interceptions one less interception against the Saints than he has thrown against all of his games in Tampa Bay combined.
That's
His
wild,
only
man.
win against them is again in the playoffs last year. So they have his number. It's something we got to figure out. We got to play them one more time this year. They're the team I was worried about coming in. And then like when Jameis went out, I was like, "Oh, this one's over. We got this in the bag." And then Trevor Simeon just came out and said, "Nah, no, it's not over that easy." And it was the day of the backup quarterbacks. And once again, he just threw the ball how he wanted to, slung it around, and we are beat up in the secondary. And that's what's been our Achilles heel all season. We can't stop the pass, and we need to get some guys back that can cover. And I always say, like, we have Tom Brady, we're never out of a game. That being said, we need to find a way to stop people too.
So I would say if you're looking for a couple guys to cover passes, like I would have a look at the New Orleans secondary because it seemed like they had a pretty good day.
Yeah,
against
they're
Tom
pretty good
Brady.
at it against Tom Brady.
Yeah, yo,
Well,
that
and
pick,
Marshawn
that pick
Lattimore has a
six
great-
was like that. That was pretty wild. Like, just go down, bro.
Yeah.
You don't need to
And-
score there. The game's over, but whatever.
Isn't like Mike Evans only got like 4 catches in all his career games against Marshawn Lattimore? He's completely shut him down too.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous what his numbers are against him. But the rematch, I know Simeon played well. I don't think it's going to be him that's going to be the quarterback at the helm when the rematch happens there. I think
You
it's
think gonna
really
be 5-head.
I think like the Taysom Hill, like it's crazy how we're in the midpoint of the season here, and Jameis Winston goes down. And it's like the team gets the opportunity to see half the season with Winston. They're going to see half it now with Hill because it looks like Hill's going to be cleared from concussion here at the end of the week, so he'll be able to play. So yeah, we see it's going to be Hill's team, and the quarterback guru and Sean Payton's obviously going to do something well with him because if you get something out of Trevor Simeon, shit, you can do anything with that damn near anybody. Give Nathan Peterman a call.
Do not
Yikes.
bring Nathan Peterman back into the NFL.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still plays for the
The
Raiders.
Raiders, yeah, I'm pretty sure the third stringer there.
Fuck, how's he not cut? Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, the loss of Jameis is obviously a big one for what they thought their plan was. If I was Sean Payton, I would think that Simeon gives you a better opportunity to run what your expected offense was last year. Simeon could run what Drew Brees was doing, maybe not to the same level of Drew Brees. And Taysom Hill can be the guy that you want him to be. I'm not sure if you want Taysom Hill dropping back for 30 passes. Like, that's, that doesn't seem to make sense, especially since you went ahead and got Ingram and you got Kamara now. I don't know, man. I say Simeon's the guy.
Yeah, I think the Ingram one thing was more of like a symbolic trading. Come get all those that rushing yards career thing here.
Dude,
and
he
then-
looked good. He looked good.
Yeah,
He played well, and bigger trade happened today. We talked a little bit about it, but Vaughn Miller to the Rams. So I know Liam. The guy that's our producer that doesn't have a name and doesn't like to be tagged in posts. He's probably pretty happy to have a guy like Vaughn Miller, but I'm curious how you guys think a trade like this goes down because Vaughn Miller was emotional and he was, I'm sure he was crying in his press conference, but like he made this trade happen, right?
I'm
100%.
sure he did. I'm sure he did. And
Yeah.
he can be emotional all he wants. This guy's about to potentially win a Super Bowl in the NFC. Do one in each conference. Be pretty special.
Yeah, and when it really comes down to it, like Vaughn Miller's contract expires at the end of this year.
Did
The
you hear the
Broncos are
contract
still paying.
details of that? Oh, you want to
Yeah,
say it right now? Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
still
it
paying
doesn't cost
9
them.
million of the 9.7 million.
Yeah, it's
Like,
costing the
what?
Rams.
What?
Yeah,
Do you want to hear the better part? The Rams only have a 7th-round pick this year.
Well, the
So
Rams have
awesome.
proven over and over again now, I guess, over
They
the last
don't
4
care.
years that draft picks just do not matter, right?
Good for them.
And there's no
It's
such
just-
thing as a salary cap somehow in LA.
It's like how we all played Madden when we were 6 years old. And like,
Uh-huh.
just like, hey, well, that trade isn't valid, but like, execute anyways.
yeah,
I don't need draft picks in dynasty mode. Execute.
yeah. I'm just gonna quit in 3 years anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty wild to think that like Vaughn Miller still commands a second and a third round pick, right?
Name is it, man. And I mean,
Yeah.
here's the other thing too. The guy can have a down year in a team like Denver. If he gets to a team like LA, he could certainly just get 4 or 5 more sacks this season alone off of the pass coverage that's there or the other pressure that's there too. So
Yeah.
I think that Denver's being able to say, listen, this guy's going to get you a lot more than what he was getting here around our team. We need a little bit more.
He's not going to get double. He's not going to get double teamed in LA.
Yeah, won't have that
If
opportunity.
you double team Vaughn Miller, that means you're not double teaming
Hey,
Aaron Darnold. And that
Or
guy's
Leonard Floyd. Like Leonard Floyd is not
hey,
playing like
I'm sure
subpar.
that guy could find a way to get double teamed in LA. I'm just saying. Like
if you
he will
wanted
have
to.
he will have absolutely no issue. That guy's going to win the Super Bowl this year, and good for him. Awesome that the Rams play or execute the way that they do. And I don't know. I mean, 5, 6, 7 years from now, like I'm sure that we'll be talking about the Rams, like how decimated they are. But right now, I just ride the wave, man. Salary cap's going up next year. You never know. But if I had to guess right now, place the bet, I think that Vaughn Miller is going back to the Broncos next year in free agency.
Oh, wow. So he's not that
Bull-
emotional then.
Rent
See,
a
it's only
player.
just a few months.
I think it's all bullshit, man. Yeah, go ahead, win your thing. We're gonna get a second and a third round pick, which is potentially 2 more starters. We already have some pretty good picks in the first round. Why don't you just get out of here? Go enjoy yourself. Maybe you could come back with an offensive scheme that'll actually allow us to score points. And, whatever. We'll be okay. The Broncos almost gave away their game on Sunday. I mean, their game's so irrelevant that we're not even going to bother spending time on it. But that fumble at the end of the game almost cost them.
Yeah,
Should have cost them.
but it's Washington they're playing, and I guess they don't
Yeah.
deserve to win.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is so funny right now. There's like 5 teams that just absolutely suck.
Yeah, actually, I was just reading the Lions' point differential right now is worse than their 0-16 team, and there was like another team that had anyway, it's like 110 minus 110. We're at week 8 or 9. Wow.
We could probably got to wrap up here. So I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts, but it looks like they're about to kick off.
Yeah,
I
final
wanna
thought
watch
for me.
football.
And Chad, you're not gonna like hearing this is about hockey, but Shane, I enjoyed watching our team play over the weekend and the Devils winning. Woo! Sidney
Hey,
Crosby's a
I'll-
-3 in his debut. Ouch.
Only thing I know is that the World Series or the Stanley Cup is not handed out in October, so we will continue to watch a little bit of hockey. But let's sign off here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube and the Twitch channel. Make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram. Always appreciate the comments. Definitely keep them coming. Keep the boys firing away here. We'll be back on Thursday. Cheers.